Chapter 17, The Quiapo Affair. Father Scamorra admires the pretty girls and regrets not being a Paris prize of Quiapo. He sees someone so beautiful that he pinches Binzaib's arm by accident. The person turns out to be Paulita Gomez, who is accompanied by Isagani and Donna Victorina. Many people stop to stare at Paulina Gomez. Isagani is upset by all the attention she is getting. Juanito Pilais greets them. Donna Victorina calls him over because she secretly prefers Juanito to Isagani. The group says about selling all sorts of statues of different races and professions. The friars once have been made with care and portrays as gentle, well-attired, and intelligent, unlike those in Spanish, which are depicted as symbols of gluttony and incontinence. Binzaib points of a statue of Tin Friar sitting at a desk writing as Simon, saying it is Father Camorra. Everyone laughed because it looks nothing like him. Father Camorra points at a statue of a one-eyed old woman squatting on the floor and ironing clothes. Binzaib is confused until Father Camorra points out to them the label, the Philippines Press, referring to the iron that the old woman is using. Everyone laughs. Everyone starts arguing about the aesthetics and proportions of the art, and whether the Inju can be talented and sculpture, and whether Injus should be discouraged from trying to be artists. Don Custodio say that Injus have the right attitudes but should be curving saints. They notice that the Chinese statues look more like Father Irini and that the British Indians looks like a Simon. But Simon has disappeared, and Father Camorra thinks it's because he does not want to pay for everyone. Binzaib says he is afraid of his friends Mr. Litz being humiliated. Binzaib explained that it's all just illusions caused by mirrors. Chapter 18, Deceptions. At Mr. Litz's room, Binzaib examines the table for mirrors, which is he thinks is the tricks behind the exhibit's findings none. Mr. Litz produces a box containing some ashes and a piece of papyrus, which he supposedly found during a visit to the pyramid of Khufu. Mr. Litz pronounced a word from the papyrus and the box reveals the head of a cadaver. Mr. Litz commands the head to tell its story. The head introduced himself as a mutis whose life was ruined after returning home from his studies abroad and discovering the secret of governing impostor, Gaumata. With the help of tyrannical Egyptian priest, Gaumata engineers the ruin of Imutis, young priest Abydos, who coveted the woman Imutis loved. Abydos falsely implicated Imutis in a rebellion, which led to the death of Imutis in a lake during an attempted escape. Father Salvi recognized the similarities between the story of Imutis and events of his past. He collapses in terror, calls for mercy, and declares some woman steals lives. Chapter 19, The Fuse. Placido Pinintinti is enraged by his experience at the university. Back at his rented room, he finds his mother, Kabisang Andang, on a visit. He narrates what happened to him and his mother reminds him of both their sacrifice and asks him to be patient and humble. Placido leaves to escape his mother and sees Simon, with whom he shares his story. Simon invites him to a tag-along, and they make their way to the house of the Priotinist. Placido hears the two converse about bombs, and an event that is to transpire the following weeks involving Kabisang Tells and his men. Any delay in which may mean death for Maria Clara. Placido later spends a few hours of Simon's house, from which he emerged thoughtful. He later concedes to his mother's plans to try to placate the friars at his university. Alone at his house, Simon momentarily revolts at his own action, but he quickly turns away from his conscience. Chapter 20: The Aberrator. Don Custodio has been mulling over the questions of the Spanish Academy for many days without a solution, wanting to please both those who are for and against it. Who is Don Custodio? He met with some success after using his wife's money to go in business, which led to numerous distinguished appointments. He once returned to Spain, from where they gathered an assortment of ideas, which he then implemented in usually projects in the Philippines, which others criticized. Regarding his opinion, the native population, he thinks them only fit for mechanical work and imitate arts, and refuses to think them capable of being distinguished. Don Custodio is Catholic, but only because he thinks it's necessary to be among backward people. In the Philippines, he thinks the friars are necessary and are superior colonial masters. It is because of this that friars thinks favorable of him. As he continued to ponder the questions of the academy, his eyes land on one of his projects, files concerning the schools of arts and trades. He has a eureka moment and declared he has arrived of a decision. In chapter 21, Manila Characters, people flocks to the theater of the first show of a French operetta company. Outside an unkempt Spaniard nicknamed the Shrimps chats about the show with Uncle Quaco. The Shrimps thinks that the performance sold out because people grew curious as a result of the friar's strong opposition to it on moral grounds, and the public chatter among the show's prominent supporters. Elsewhere, the student studio is accompanied by a newcomer to whom he gives an overview of the background of every important-looking person. They say Taddeo makes up stories about those he does not really know. Macarig, Pixons, Saldoval, and Isaganis arrive, and Taddeo accepts their offer to join them in their theater box. Chapter 22, The Performance. The performance opens late to an impatient audience due to the delayed arrival of the Captain General. Across the students' box is one procured by Macarig for Pipay, Don Custodio's dancer, in an effort to get her influence. Don Custodio in their favor regarding the appeal for Spanish Academy permit. They are in good spirits seeing Pipa's happy looks. Only Isaganes is a bad mood, seeing Paulita with his rival Juanito Pilais. Don Custodios, who early sided with the friars against the show, is also there under the guise of critiquing the show. Father Irene in disguise and likewise in attendance, with his execute that he had been sent by Father Salvi as secret religions police. At the end of the first act, Makarig heads of to see Pipay and Father Irene and learns that his commission has accepted Don Custodio's recommendation in favor of the Spanish Academy, but stipulates that the implementation of the plan must be supervised by a religious order. The students' participation is to be restricted to the collection of fees. The dejected students leave the theater. In chapter 23, a corpse. Since he returned from San Diego to rescue Jolly, Basilio has been devoting his time to studying, visiting the hospital, and attending to a sick, a severely opinion-addicted Capitan Tiago. One the night of the French operetta, Basilio is on his studies, but he interrupted by the arrival of Simon, who asked after Capitan Tiago. Basilio apprises him of the dire condition of Tiago's health, but Simon cut him off reveals that a revolution came about under his influence. Will break out in an hour. He asked Basilio to choose sides. Basilio reluctantly asked what is expected of him, and Simon asked him to head a group to rescue Maria Clara from the convent. Basilio tells him he is too late and informs him of Maria Clara's death as confirmed by a letter from Father Salvi. Simon ran out in anguish. Chapter 24, Dreams. While waiting to meet Paulita, Isagane overhears Binzaib's talk about Simon's falling ill and refusing to see even the Capitan General's men. Isagane thinks bitterly about the care given to the rich and the contrasting lack of attention to sick soldiers returning from fighting abroad. Paulita arrives and acts resentful at Isagane for his having paid too much attention to the opera performers. She forgives him and explains she wants only at the performance, hoping to see him laugh. That it is actually Donna Victorina, Paulita's aunt, who is in love with Juanito. Isagani reveals that Don Tiburcio, Doña Victorina's husband, is still in hiding in this uncle's home. This turns their conversation to Isagani's town, for which he expresses a deep love as that describes its beautiful and his happy diversions. There is former years, but Paulita refuses to travel to it without a coach. Isagani is optimistic and eventually expect progress and a much better future for the Philippines owing to the youth in Madrid. working for its welfare. Paulita is doubtful and declares these sentiments dreams.